I want to level with you guys today in today's video because most of the time you're going to see me telling you someone else's failure story, or maybe something that we did right, something that we did that worked and that hopefully you can use and learn a lesson from your own business. But not today. Not today, because most of the motivational content that you're going to hear for entrepreneurs focuses on not giving up, the entrepreneurs that don't give up on their dreams. And I think that that's a very dangerous statement. So for this video, I don't have a lot of insights. I don't have answers. I'm telling you something that we are going through right now and that we're sort of learning to cope with as we go through it. So it's probably questions more than anything else. Because today's video is about learning to give up. How we've had to give up a couple of times with our company Slidebean, and how maybe, hopefully, giving up at that moment will carve a path of success for our business. This not giving up mindset, I think, is dangerous because in the context, in reality, most startups fail. Most startups should fail, really. Failure will teach the founders of those startups how their product thesis might have been wrong or their market approach might have been wrong. And it'll teach them the lessons that they need to go and build something else, something better. Most ideas aren't meant to be unicorns. That's just the reality of this world. So failing my first company taught me a lot of lessons that have been key to the survival of Slidebean today. So it's primarily dangerous, this statement, because we founders need to learn to give up, to realize that we sometimes are wrong, and to choose whether we want to pivot or persevere. In essence, a startup is a thesis that's made up of three variables. It's an audience, it's a pain point, and a product. Some people will call this customer, product, and solution hypotheses, but they're essentially the same thing. You are assuming that this group of people have this problem, and that their solution to that problem is this product or service that you've come up with. If you get all of these three variables right, you've discovered this mythical thing called product market fit. At the early stages of a company, the word pivot is used very lightly. So the guys from Lean Validation Board, the ones who designed this little chart, essentially tell you to come up with a group of these three assumptions, right? And to get out of the building and to go and test them, to realize if you're right about your assumptions. This is probably like a week or like a 2-week iteration process. And if you're wrong about one of these statements, you have to pivot. The Lean Startup also, which is, I think, an essential book for any entrepreneur, you should read it by all means. They touch on this a little bit, and they say a startup's runway is the number of pivots it can still make. When you're starting a company, when you're building your first product, when you're hacking with your co-founders in your hacker house or whatever, it's this creative, this fast iteration moment in the company, and pivoting is very cool. For example, at the early stages of Slidebean, our problem thesis was that making presentations was complex and inefficient and frustrating for a lot of people. I think that problem statement is correct still. Our solution hypothesis was this user experience that would limit the user and would sort of funnel them to create this perfect slide. It would protect them from themselves, like it would protect them from their need to overcrowd the slide, and it will create a perfect slide every time. But it was so restrictive that people couldn't use it. So that was a wrong solution hypothesis. It didn't work. We were wrong about the product. Actually, we were wrong about the audience too, because we thought that this product was meant for anybody who could build presentations. And in reality, a lot of people that want to make presentations are not willing to pay for a product to do that, because there are free products out there. So in retrospect, at that time, those pivots were pretty fun and they were pretty easy. We were willing to question the product. We were willing to change direction fast. There was a feedback loop that was happening regularly because the founders were sort of doing everything at that time. So we found ourselves in front of another pivot more recently. And that's a much harder pivot. It's this company that had raised money from investors, that had 30 employees, that had a product that already made a few $1 million, but that wasn't growing. And things at that moment get a lot harder. Deciding to pivot gets a lot harder. And it isn't cool anymore. It's actually kind of painful. Some signs that there might be problems with your hypotheses are very obvious. You have low conversion or customer complaints or low NPS scores, right? And other problems take longer to surface, like churn. So if you have a high churn product, that's probably a sign that one of your assumptions is flawed, but you need a few months of a product being live to realize if there's truly a churn problem. So our presentation product struggled with churn from the get-go. We struggled with this for years. People who came and would come and they would pay for our product, but they left after only a few months. And we found better product market fit with startups, and the numbers kind of agreed with this. We had lower churn, we had better conversion rates, and that's why a few years back, Slidebean went from this general presentation builder into a pitch deck builder. That's something that's more specific. And this combination was kind of good, but it had a major problem, which was a market problem. Because you see, if we think of the TAM for this pitch deck builder, the total addressable market, it's actually quite tiny. In a nutshell, the TAM for our pitch deck builder is founders who are looking to raise venture capital, who are not comfortable using PowerPoint, who don't have a graphic designer or a graphic design team in their companies. And that's just too small of a group. Like we can't build a unicorn on that. So this was probably the most challenging decision process. It's definitely the most challenging decision process we've been through as a company. It's years-long decision process. Accepting that our pitch deck builder was not gonna get our company, or was not gonna make our company the company that we wanted to build from the start. And if we look back, I remember a keyword and that keyword is denial. Because for years, we kept pushing and adding new features, trying to outdo ourselves on the product, coming up with new marketing hacks and new campaigns. And we failed to see growth, and it was very frustrating. And I think that deep down, we had already understood for a while that we were a bit stuck. The problem at that time was that doing something about it meant giving up on the pitch deck product. It meant moving our engineers from working on this idea to working on something else, which is dangerous. It's very dangerous from a motivation standpoint. This company, this product that they were hired for, is suddenly giving up, and they've decided to work on something else, something different. So the way we found a way to approach this was doing little experiments that didn't mean a huge time commitment or a huge pivot for everyone in the company, but just an option for our ideas to see the light of day, right? So we tested a product called Avocado, for example. It had the idea to put our AI presentation engine for another use to create ads and design them in all the formats. And we followed a lean startup approach. We made a little video and we put it on YouTube to see how people would react. But honestly, nobody got too excited about it. And we understood that we weren't in a good position to tackle that market. So we gave up very easily. We also made a platform called Founder Hub, which was kind of a startup checklist guide on the steps that you have to follow if you want to raise capital. That was a longer project. It was like a 2-3 month commitment from one of our engineers. It was part of his onboarding, actually. He learned a lot of technologies by doing that. And the product did decently well. It still has a few hundred monthly active users, but we just never found a way to monetize it. So in the end, our willingness to carve out some resources from our pitch deck builder to build something new was us learning, starting to accept that there could be more potential on putting our time to something else. And that helped cope with it a little bit. And that is how we ended up on YouTube, by the way. So YouTube was an experiment, and beyond the views and the credibility and the plaque, this YouTube channel was a motivation for me and for the rest of the team to once again believe that we had the capacity to build something great, that today impacts hundreds of thousands of people, and that we had the talent to build these things. So it was only after a couple of years, maybe more, of doing these little experiments that we were finally prepared to let go. Finally prepared to accept that we needed a new focus as a company and to cope with it as founders. And it took us way longer than it could have, I guess. But finally, we paused, worked on our presentation builder, and we started focusing on 3 new axes. So the first one is our consulting branch, which we call agency. It came a little bit from user demand, a little bit after YouTube. People who watched our videos come to us for help on their pitch deck, and for the longest time, we pushed them to our SaaS product, and then we finally understood that that's not what they needed. They needed help from a human being. They were looking for humans and writers and designers, and we built a small team that now takes care of that. I think we work with it's like 50, 70 companies month over month, helping them prepare their documents and their back office as they approach fundraising. The second axis here is a product that we're launching today. It's our first genuinely new product since we started Slidebean, and it's called Recurring. And I don't know, I was torn on whether I should pitch it to you or play this little ad that we made. The story behind the ad, I think, is really cool. I thought that we were a big enough company to go to Sandwich Video, which is this incredible video production company, and ask them and have them make the ad for this product. So we did. So I went there and I told them, hey, here's our budget. And I think that they had to stop themselves from laughing in my face when this project was just like a fifth of their minimum budget for any project. So we came back with tail between our legs and figured, well, fuck it, we can make a better video. We are gonna challenge ourselves to make a better video. And this is by far the biggest production I've worked on. We spared no expense a little bit in the sense that we hired this huge warehouse. I think we printed like 100 boxes. I kept telling the team that we need the box tower to be bigger and bigger and bigger, and it ended up being like 20 feet high. We hired Steve, who's the narrator of Kuzgesagt. So he narrated, or he is the narrator in this video. We had extras and actors, and we had stunt doubles because the minions are all the same people, so we needed stunt doubles for when we had minions in the background. Hopefully this is a fun video. I'm gonna drop the link to the full video in the description if you guys wanna go watch it. And this became a really cool time for us. We not only did the ad, we were working on this new product that lives inside the Slidebean umbrella. It's part of the same company, but it's a new product. So it's like a new startup, right? And the problem sprung from a problem that we discovered ourselves. We weren't keeping good track of our SaaS subscriptions. We found no software that would help us do that, or at least that had targeted a company our size. So we decided to build it ourselves. It's on Product Hunt today, by the way, so if you can spare 2 minutes, would really appreciate if you guys go and comment and upload into the Product Hunt thing. But anyway, we've been secretly working on this for over a year. In the process, we've seen some competitors come out, and they've made us question our own value propositions. And the question that we ask ourselves every time we find a new competitor is, can we still beat them? Or do we need to pivot? And this is this self-assessment process that I think every company should go through. Every time a new competitor comes out, you should ask yourself, do you want to pivot or do you want to persevere? Do you still have a better position on the market, or do you still know something that they don't understand to beat that company to market? And then for recurring, after we kind of scanned all the competitors, we still believe we do. And for our pitch deck builder, maybe not. We have some solid competitors now with more funding, more connections, and maybe it's time to pivot. So the third axis, I can't talk about that much, but it is where Slidebean is headed. It's no longer going to be just a pitch deck builder. It's going to be more of a suite of tools, and that's coming out next year. And yeah, stay tuned for that. Anyway, before we wrap up, I want to talk about dealing with this failure, dealing with this stuff. So I had the chance to have a couple of very curious conversations with fellow CEOs over the past couple of weeks. CEOs of startups that are much larger than Slidebean. I actually owe a lot of that to you guys, to you YouTube watchers and subscribers, because having such a large channel opens doors for us, to be honest. I can send an email to someone and they'll reply because it's this guy from this decently sized channel on YouTube. It's like dating outside of my league, literally, where we're in the 2 to 10 million ARR category of a company, but we get to talk to CEOs of the 10 to 100 ARR league. Anyway, as I sit down with these fellow founders, the conversations have quickly evolved into very personal stuff. It's like when you see another fellow founder or another fellow CEO, you can sort of let down your guard. You can cut the bullshit. It's not about selling or about pitching your company or about fundraising, which is the mode that we usually have to be in when we talk to pretty much anybody. So there's a bit of a facade, to be honest. We have to keep that facade. It's the truth. We have to fake it till we make it, right? You can't pitch your startup to investors if you're saying that you're not sure about whether this product that you're launching is gonna work or not. Or you can't pitch saying that you're tired and that you're confused and that it's sometimes frustrating. And the problem, I think the biggest problem is that when your company is struggling, you can't really tell anyone, can you? Because if you're planning to make up your burn rate with revenue, or if you are planning to make that up with raising more money, you still have to continue selling your company either way. So it's very tiring to sort of keep that on. When you talk to other CEOs, the person in front of you understands you. They know the struggle. They've been through that as well. They've been through the same amount of all-nighters and stress. And it's honestly pretty cool to be able to get into those conversations and to vent a little bit. So make sure that you find fellow founders in that same role, and that you have time that you carve out time to have those conversations. Most CEOs are very happy and almost desperate to have those conversations, that connection. So finally, on learning to give up, one thing that has worked for us is giving yourself a deadline on anything that you do. And if things haven't worked out by then, quit or pivot. For a founder, time is probably our most limited and valuable asset. In our lifetimes, we only have time to start so many companies. So we have to use that time as best as we can. In other words, life is too short to be stuck in a company that's not what you wanted to be. It's gonna be painful, depending on where you are in the world. Failed startups in your CV or in your background will either affect or boost your reputation. It really depends on where you are in the world. But remember that what you're learning from that failure is absolutely applicable to anything that you do in the future. Yeah, like I think that we've learned to fail, and hopefully by accepting this, we can sort of carve a new path for ourselves. So thanks for sticking around with me on this rant. If you think that recurring could be useful for your company, I'd appreciate it if you try it out. It's free for any company with under $5,000 in expenses. So feedback is more than welcome. Drop it on Product Hunt, drop it in the comments, and thanks all for watching. See you next week.